Here at Totally Online Gaming Group, we had the privilege of having two of the developers of Talespire, Jonny Ree and Jason Roy, join Klein and I on our collaborative build stream. We got to ask them questions about their amazing program and got to have some fun building together. We hope you enjoy this video and hope to see you getting Talespire and joining this awesome community once it comes out in early access. All right, welcome everyone to Totally Online Gaming Group's Twitch channel. We're so glad you guys could join us for a really cool day. We've got Jonny Ree and Jason Roy here, two of the developers of Talespire that are joining Klein and I in the collaborative build. And anyone else who wants to jump in and build with us, if you've been following the stream and following the collab build before, you know how to do it. If you're new to it, but you've got Talespire and you want to jump in, right there in chat is the link to the Discord channel. You click on that link, you go ahead and react to get your role, and then you go to the Collab Build stream channel in the Discord, and there is a join code right there. And that'll allow you to join in here in this build with us, and then from there we'll give you GM permission so you can start building with us. As always, the rules are simple. Don't be a prick to other people. You know, don't mess with their builds. And the list of what's available to be built is off to the east, which, hey, there's a compass in the lower left. If you guys have, you can add that in through the settings. But to the east of the build is listed off the different levels and the different things that, we're suggesting get built in those areas. But other than that, come in, have fun, show us your creativity. All right, one other quick announcement before we kind of get into things is starting, actually it was basically last week, going all the way through November 8th, is the Extra Life Charity Drive, part of the Raptor Pack with Valdrianth, and also known as Rosie Raid, and her team for Extra Life, which is a wonderful charity that raises money for children's hospitals. Please, if you can, put the link in the chat real quick. Okay. If you can, follow the link, donate to help us reach our goal for supporting the Extra Life Foundation and helping kids in children's hospitals. It's going to go all the way through November 8th. Ending on that Extra Life weekend, where there'll be from the 6th, 7th, and 8th is basically going to be non-stop gaming for those 3 days. So come and help us meet our goal. And as an additive incentive, I am offering up my own money for every sub point that we get on the channel from now until then. I will match that with $1 out of my own pocket. So if we end up with 100 sub points, I'm spending $100 right to the charity, so make me spend my money, guys. All right. I think that's about it for announcements. So I would like to introduce, we've got Jonny Ree here. Say hi there, Jonny.
Hello.
And Jason Roy.
Hi, how you doing?
And as always, Klein, hanging out with me on audio.
Hello, hello.
And Danelle should be joining us in a little while. He's still working, but he should be joining us to hopefully finish up his little build of this crazy shop contraption thing that he's been working on.
I hate it so much.
That's just because it defies physics. So,
Yep.
I see.
All right. So, I think, Jason, you said you were going to take on the training grounds as something you wanted to work on.
That seems open and easy right now. So,
All right.
Just gotta get into.
All right, and Jonny, any ideas on what you want to build? Again, those are just suggestions. You can, if you got an idea, use it.
Yeah, I think I need to just sort of start building something and see what comes out of it, and then sort of steer that into some sort of idea.
Nice.
That works too.
Yeah, outstanding. All right. So, while we're building, I'm going to distract you guys with some questions here and there, just to make it interesting. And they're simple questions. As I kind of mentioned to both these guys ahead of time, if you have been following their streams on their channel, Bouncy Rock channel, have you guys been watching like when Baggers comes on, like you did last week, or following the dev notes and stuff like that? A lot of these questions have probably already been answered in those streams or those notes. So this is kind of to help introduce people who are newer to Talespire, some of these questions that we're going to cover. But later on, once we're done with these, if these guys are open to it, I'll open it up to chat and you guys can ask some questions. Just remember, whole bunch of info was just put out last week, so I highly recommend you watch the VOD of that stream where Baggers went over all the stuff that's going on recently. So I think
sounds good.
Yeah. So I think Klein, if we want to continue on with the keep.
Put it in the upper level walls now.
Outstanding. Okay, and just for Jonny and Jason's benefit, we do have stair cannons. That is now a requirement for everything. Stair cannons.
Stair cannons.
Yes, on the grand stairway to the keep, there are cannons.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. Let's take a look.
Okay, let's see. Oh, hey, look at that.
Yeah. So
Nice,
we have
man.
created the stair cannons. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to do a little bit of cutaway so I can actually see what we've got left on that first level. I think I still had the storage room, right, Klein?
That sounds correct.
Yep. All right, and yes, I do have... Yeah, the build light is on. Good. So we should be able to see that. Okay, so that's what I've got going on in the storage room. And alright, so we got the shelves all set, and I just need to start filling them out with stuff. And while we're doing that, I will ask you guys, and either one of you can answer, or you can both answer, it's up to you. What really inspired you guys to make this program?
That's a good question.
You want to answer that one? Or?
Well, I guess, I mean, yeah, from my perspective, it was just, okay, so what inspired us to make the program? I think, so I would be lying if I said that what we have right now is what we initially thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was initially going to be, or at least when I came to Jonny with the kind of like, hey, maybe we could try something like this. What I was thinking about was something like, like the D&D games, Castle Ravenloft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those D&D board games. It was, man. So we were kind of we were working on mobile games at the time, and we were doing a lot of little prototypes for mobile games, and I think what I wanted to do was just have a game where you just played with mini and dice and built out and played through little dungeons like that. You could just do it on your phone and like the lunch line and something like that. And
Okay.
I started with something, something small, just some tiles, building it out, and then I started with an initiative system, and I was having kind of some issues with that. And at the time, Jonny was getting into programming, and he was a much better, and still is a much better programmer than I am. But I was like, hey, can I get some help with the initiatives? And he helped me with that, and he was like, hey, try this. But then he started to do he basically took it to the next level, and it became what it is today. He can probably speak more to that because he really had a vision on, hey, let's take this idea and bring it to the next level, and with he was doing some really neat art prototypes, and at this and at the same time, I think Sword Coast Legends was released, and that was also very inspiring. You guys remember Sword Coast Legends? You remember that when that came
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Vaguely.
yeah,
Dude.
it was a cool game. And unfortunately, it had a the poor development team got dissolved and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but it was around that same time that was very inspiring as well. And I was like, man, this could be the next you know Neverwinter Nights,
Oh,
essentially,
yeah.
build and everything like that. I was really excited about that, but um, you know, unfortunately, they met a terrible fate.
Yes.
And so at that time, it was like, okay, well, let's. I guess we were just building something. We didn't know exactly what it was, but we started with that, and with all the extra inspiration um, from Sword Coast Legends and all that stuff, I guess it's been a long road, but I think that
Okay.
kind of tipped it off into something that like we wanted to have something that we could build and play D&D in. But
Okay.
it was a long. It's been a long road, and like really, yeah, it's evolved so much over time. But yeah, that's kind of from my perspective, John. If you want to talk about kind of.
Sure. I mean, yeah, my memory of it more more or less started with when when I started doing the prototypes on my end. Because I do remember uh, we having the conversations about sort of doing something like which had sort of that tabletop aesthetic.
Okay.
Yep.
We were trying to find something at the time, just a project on our spare time that we could get into, because it's been a while since we felt like we had a project that we were passionate about,
Mhm.
and it's been a
All
lot
right.
of the ideas of, okay, let's just make something small so we can just finish up something and have something cool to play around with, and so yeah, we did this prototype of Talespire, or we called it, the working title I think was Tile Dungeon,
Tile Dungeon, yeah.
Tile
and
Dungeon.
that was Tile Dungeon, and it was definitely a working title. It was never meant to be anything other than that. But we created within like a very short amount of time this prototype where you could roll dice and move through. There was no rules. Um, it was just our own little rule system that we came up with based on some 12-sided die, a little bit like Descent.
Okay.
How the dice work. And there's a video up online about that prototype, because we did a stream. I think we were streaming
Yes, we were.
uh, with that prototype, and we put that video up on YouTube later.
Nice.
And what that was just you could move through this created dungeon, and you would roll dice, and we had these encounters that you could spawn as you sort of got further and further into it. And but I don't think it took us more than a week to put that together. And this is after doing a bunch of these art tests and things like that, and sort of finding a potential aesthetic for the game. So we did that, and for me, it's always been about like how can we how can you recreate that feeling of playing persistent worlds and things like that
Yeah.
on Neverwinter Nights. So that's always been a goal for me personally, because nothing has come around. And Sword Coast Legend, as Jason mentioned, was one of those games that we thought might do it. It might be what we're looking for, but it wasn't, unfortunately, at least not for me.
Mm.
And it was just a very different experience. And well, it seems like it was a game in a bit of a development hell,
Ah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
So we made that prototype, and I wanted, I, I remember wanting to be able. So we talked. I'm sure we talked about this, about sort of wanting to build dungeons, because we had a pre-built one, but wanting to sort of have an editor similar to the Aurora engine, but in game, so that people could build their own dungeons. So we started
Okay.
prototyping that, and putting a bunch of these things on Twitter. And over time, the response sort of grew, when they were seeing the dice getting rolled, and the first time I posted a goblin next to like a d20, it was like rolling it. First
Oh,
GIF I posted, just rolling that d20 next to the goblin, and that
oh yeah.
quickly got like at least a couple of thousand of likes,
Oh
which
yeah.
for me at the time was like that's a lot of likes. Um, but immediately there was this narrative that started to form where people like, oh man, I wish we could play D&D using this.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we started sort of veering a bit in that direction. And over time, it just that's what it became, a way to play pen and paper role playing games. With
I
all of
see.
those features that we wanted to have anyway, because we wanted to be able to have a lot of players involved. The fact that it ended up rule agnostic was something that happened along the way, because initially we thought we'd keep this rule system that we've made in so that people could just go in and play games using that. But it was clear that people wanted to have the flexibility of using any system, which we completely understand. Although it would be fun to do do that system in like a different thing sometime in the future, but I'll have to wait.
Oh, you mean the one that we were kind of toying around with in the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be so cool. Because let me tell you guys, like, rolling multiple dice in Talespire feels so much more satisfying than just one little d20. When you're rolling,
absolutely.
like, let me see if I can find the video. I'll post it in the chat.
Hey, real fast, Tog, it looks like
Yep,
Denal finally joined, so the
Yep,
cameras are all...
I'm adjusting the video feeds right now.
I didn't know if you noticed that or not.
Yep, just did. I don't know if he can hear us though.
Sure, leave it to the late guy.
Yeah.
Mess everything up. Greetings all.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, this is our cohort partner in crime, good friend of mine, Denal.
Nice to meet you.
As well.
Right, and then this one here. Need to go this way. Like this. And I should be done adjusting the cameras in just a moment, everyone. Sorry for the inconvenience. And all right. That has it for the most part, I believe. Yes. All right. Close enough. Yes. Oh, so yeah, you were talking about that video that you put up that got all those likes and everything. Someone in chat, that guy Baldrax, says, I want to see that video. Is it still up on YouTube?
I'm not sure actually.
Let me check on my site, because there is a chance that it was uploaded on my channel rather than on the Bouncy Rock one, so I'll have to check.
Also, hello to everyone in chat. It's good to see
Yes.
everyone here. And if anyone would like to join us in our Collab Build stream and you have Talespire, you can always do so.
Yep.
If wait, hold on. Did I see Astari in the chat?
Yes,
Yeah.
Astari is in the chat. Yeah, if you weren't here in time to see how to do it there, Astari, it's actually real simple. Go to that link in the Discord, and for anyone else who's got Talespire who wants to actually join us in the build.
Okay.
Yeah.
Demon Gun. Oh, you guys are both like incredible builders. You guys gotta get into it.
I think Demon Gun's working right now.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, he's been in before, and he's already, he can just link right in. So we give him a hard time when he doesn't come in.
Nice.
But Istari or anyone else who wants us or who wants to join us in the build, by all means, please do follow that link in for the Discord. React to get a role, and then you can go to the channel in the Discord. This is Collab Build. Go into that Collab Build stream channel, and the join code's right in there for you guys to use. and then you'll be able to hop in. We'll give you GM permission, and you can start building. So,
Nice.
all
Nice.
right. And looks like Istalri is actually in a session right now. Okay. All right. So, going on to another question here.
Hey Tog,
yep.
I stole one of your ideas from your ship. You'll see it top level of the keep.
Oh boy. Okay, hold on. I have to
It's just a fun little thing.
pan up and look now. Oh, you put the D&D table with the DM screen. Nice.
Yep.
We took your war table and we bastardized it.
It is a D&D table. It always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
Tell me otherwise.
Nice. You know, that was kind of, I think, when we were making the Kickstarter video. Jonny was like, "Hey, we need a table that we could use in game, but that kind of looks like a D&D table, like a war table or something like that." I was like, "All right." And so that's kind of like where it came. And then and if you recall, that's like one of the first thing that shows up in the Kickstarter trailer with the D20 rolling right off of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we made some adjustments on there.
That hurts.
Yep. Natural
Ah.
one.
Womp womp.
But yeah, we made some adjustments by using the signs that you guys put in to create a makeshift DM screen around the table.
That's awesome.
All right, so another question for you guys is, I'm sure you guys get asked about rule sets and oh, when are you going to do that, all the time, but I want to know what types of rule sets are you thinking of implementing if and when you guys do go that route? Are you focusing more to like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, or is there another TTRPG RPG that's really getting it for you?
Yeah, so the doing sort of encoding rules and stuff like that was one of the Kickstarter stretch goals.
Mhm.
And even though we've had a lot of conversations about what that might look like, it's likely going to be a way of encoding rules so that it appears like help appears in game when you sort of need it more contextually.
Okay.
And I don't. It's probably going to be something like 5th edition initial, as in the rule set that we're going to test with.
Okay.
Just because it's a popular one.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Makes sense.
But one of the things that we do need to make sure is that we also make it easy dice-wise to play other types of role-playing games that uses different dice systems, things like that. Because currently it's obviously really geared towards like D&D-like systems, like D20 systems, or ones that use similar dice. There will be ways to customizing dice at some point.
All right.
It's not going to be available for the early access release, and I'm not sure when we're going to be able to sort of start looking at that stuff. But the dice that we have in game currently has been made sort of using a dice maker, to call it that we have running in the game. We just need to move that stuff out into Tailweaver, the modding system. I say just. There's obviously
that's a lot of work involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that it needs to sort of fall into place for that to actually become available. But hopefully, it won't be too tedious to get working. So we don't really know what the rule stuff is going to look like, unfortunately. But what the first sort of step towards that is just making sure that the dice system, at least, is able to handle other types of dice and things like that, so that people can play other systems.
I see. Excellent.
Well, a follow-up question to that, not just D&D, but things like 40K or just basic Warhammer also use dice systems. Are you thinking about making any sort of custom minis for those, or because of licensing issues, you're not really looking into that yet?
Yeah, we're not really looking into that yet, just because there's a licensing thing there, and we're obviously open to working with, well, anyone really, anyone that wants to work with us and stuff, but we're not actively reaching out to anyone quite yet. Also, it's going to be interesting to see how people handle things like Warhammer, like the obviously the role-playing game is one thing, but also there's people who've been talking about wanting to use it for wargaming, and that's not something that we'll be focusing on, especially because, but there are sort of features there that we also need. Being able to move multiple creatures and stuff in groups and stuff like that would be really handy to have regardless.
Oh, okay. Yeah, being able to group them together and drag them around where you need as a group.
Yeah. So
that was touched on briefly last week, if I recall correctly, of something that needs to get done.
Yes, that is also something that we won't have before the early access release, unfortunately, but it is something that we'll be looking into doing after that. When I say the early access release, I do mean the initial release and not V1, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Excellent.
I'm still sort of looking for that video, by the way, just in case I'm looking to the side here.
I was checking your and our channel, and I couldn't find anything, man. I hope it's not lost to the internet.
There we go. Looks like it's still I can't speak today. Looks like Istalri actually did jump in.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
So, all right.
No, we got the good builder here now.
Rest of us to shame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like Cedric.
Cedric's guy, yep. He's also very good.
Let's see. Yeah, it's incredible. Like some of the stuff that we've seen the community do. It pisses me off, frankly.
That's the appropriate emotional response, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I will say though that you guys just don't necessarily have the time to just play around and build like the rest of us. And when I first got the program, pardon my French, I was shit builder. Just horrible. And I like to think that I've improved quite a bit, because just getting that time to play around with it, I mean, that's how you get good. And I think Klein's idea to have this collaborative build stream is huge, because it's just allowed us to be able to get together as a community and learn from each other.
Yeah, this is great. It's a great idea, actually. I really do. I like this collaborative build stream thing going on right now. This is really cool. And I mean, of course,
Hey, you're cutting in and out there, Klein. What was...
Well, I was going to say the whole point of it was just, again, to just share ideas and just have fun building. Like, that's the long and short of it. If someone has an idea, then, like, before there were ladders, we used stools stacked on top of each other halfway into a wall, and it's just an idea that we've been using a lot since then.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes, we steal ideas from Demon Gun all the time, and... So, all right. That kind of actually, from something that you mentioned a little while ago there, Jonny, kind of brings up another question. And again, this is kind of more focused for people who don't really know about it, and hopefully it kind of opens their eyes on what it is a little bit. But can you explain what Tail Weaver is, and what the concept behind that is going to be, and what's that going to be used for?
Sure. So Tailweaver is in essence a Unity project. So you have to download a version of Unity, and then you load up that project. And what it allows you to do currently is it allows you to bring miniatures in from a 3D application, tiles from a 3D application, putting everything together, and then exporting it into the game so that it can be used inside of Talespire. So it's basically a way for importing your own stuff. It is the same tools that we use internally. So with the artists on the team, they basically put everything through Tailweaver, and it sets everything up the way it needs to be set up for the in-game assets. So initially, it's probably just going to be creatures and tiles, but there's also a scripting engine in there, like a visual scripting tool called Spaghetti. It's going to be a bit limited for the initial release, so there's not like a ton of stuff that you can do. You might be able to put it like animate some lights and open doors, run animations on tiles and things like that. But later, hopefully, that will expand to be able to do more logic and things like that. There's also things like down the road. There's things like doing custom effects. We hope to put in there also creating custom dice, things like that. So it's the
Very
modding
cool.
tool technically, but it's also the one we use internally. So it's sort of like a development tool in a way.
Okay, so that's going to allow people to start creating their own tiles, minis, things like that to bring into the game. Awesome.
Yes, that's the idea. And we still have some infrastructure stuff we need to figure out, especially when it comes to how these things will be shared between players when you join a game that has mods. How is that supposed to work? And we've been talking about having like external repositories that you can subscribe to and then get everything or partial things from that based on what's currently in game, so that we don't put that on ourselves to host, both for hosting capability reasons, but also for just legal reasons. Because we don't want to be legally responsible for what people do with Talespire. That would not be good. So
You don't have faith in humanity? Come on.
no, a lot of faith in humanity. That's just a few people, here and there. But so having all of that stuff not related to what we're doing, but being able to connect to that so that it's easy to get your group set up with all of the assets they need. Also, if you have a group and you're really efficient at creating new miniatures and things like that, and so next week you want a new boss, you want to be able to put that in and get that synced to your players without them having to think about it, basically. But that's one of the infrastructure problems that we'll have to deal with before Tailweaver can become useful for people to use.
Okay. All right. There we go. Trying to put this in. There we go. Gotta have one little table in there at least. Uh-oh. Putting hay bales in the floor. I love it. I have no idea who's doing it, but awesome.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna guess a Starry.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, clipping, man. That was an interesting decision.
Yeah.
A good one.
I think it's opened up a lot. Like
It definitely has.
we found ways to create bunk beds, and all that. Some pretty cool stuff using clipping. Ooh.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I think I found the video. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, it was because Talespire had a lot of, call them working titles, and so the actual working title, as I mentioned, was Tile Dungeon, but we're playing around with actual names. Like one of them was Dice Will Suffice.
Oh, yes.
And another one was Chronic Crawl.
Okay, yeah.
That's the name of that video.
Really?
It turned out to be Talespire, but so yeah, I'm gonna. I think this is it. Yeah, this was in 2015, so that says something about the development time.
Yeah.
All right.
It was
Hold
a hobby
on. Let's see.
project, so that's,
If you want, if you put the link in the Discord call, I can go ahead and drop that link into. Come on, where are you? This link. There we go. Right there. Beautiful. I can drop this right into the chat for the stream, so you guys can check that out. Right there.
Oh, you got the entire stream. Okay.
yeah, it's,
It-
it's,
it's Okay, it's not. I was thinking it was the final battle thing there. But yeah, wow, I want to watch this now.
yeah. So this
Alright.
was our little initial playtest of Chronic Crawl, that later became Talespire.
Yeah, and you get to
Nice.
see the dwarf in a T-pose, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Because you had
nice.
them,
I
yeah.
hadn't finished it, and I remember like he was like I don't know, maybe my third or fourth model for the game, and then I was like, oh shit, dude, I needed to color, and then Johnny like painted him, and I was like, dude, you're painting all my minis.
Right. Yeah, so we had but you did the spider and the rat.
Yeah, and the goblin. I think we did the spider, rat, and goblin. We had that for the stream.
Yeah, and we had No.
Yeah, no, the goblin. He was the leader.
Yes, and then there was Tishwa and an early version of Helmdar.
Helmdar, and then the goblin. I think sorcerer was in there too. Maybe,
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. maybe. I don't.
I'm definitely checking that out after this.
Agreed.
And this was it, man. This was all we. Okay, I don't think the goblin sorcerer was in, but this was all we had. For the game, yeah. This was it, man. I think
Yep.
all all the assets we could pour in, and then and of course Helmdar was in his T pose, which tells you just we were not prepared. But look, I mean, even at that point, it felt like we were onto something, man. It felt good to play, and
Oh yeah.
it was really neat. But you also see we had a very simple system. Like it was essentially hero quest, attack and defense dice.
Okay.
Or like Johnny said, Descent. Is that right? I haven't actually played Descent.
It's been a while since I played it as well, but that was sort of like the thing that came to mind, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're talking the box set tabletop game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got that one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's just like what, like attack and defense dice, basically, like kind of like hero
Basically.
quest where you. Okay.
There's a little more to it. It's actually pain in the ass to set up. That's why I never play it. It takes forever to set up.
Oh, that's too
I'm
bad.
currently playing Gloomhaven, so
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't have a place to set it up permanently, so I have to take it up and put it up and take it down. So it usually takes a while. I do have a good inlay, luckily. So.
Good.
Man, if only there was like a way to build that map virtually so that you wouldn't have to take it down every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. Nice.
That's tabletop simulator, right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
Plugging them.
There you go. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you found that. I'm definitely gonna watch that. Chronicle. In fact, didn't we so the name Talespire, I think like this is how community driven this project is. Didn't we like hold a poll for the community to say like, hey, what's the name of this project? Or I forget what happened.
Maybe. I remember that we had like 4 or 5 names that we wanted to sort of check into.
Yeah.
We might have done a poll. But that was before we had what I would call a community.
Yeah.
Just
I think it was just randoms on Twitter that were just like, yeah.
There was other developers for the most part that sort of found it via the Screenshot Saturday tag. And
There you go.
All right.
got sort of doing that. Should probably build something. Sorry about that.
Oh, jeez. No worries.
Fine.
Now there's sort of there's a bit of anxiousness as well because there's really I mean, I haven't been building with other people before, and usually I just make these sort of semi-cool looking things for screenshots, and it's that and a bunch of testing. That's the most building I tend to do,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. That has to change, of course.
It is unfortunate.
But yeah, the clipping really changed how we approach the game, and with props, that will become even more insane.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, personally, I'm super stoked for the props, man. No, okay. Yeah, I guess there's two sides of me. The Talespire developer side is not so stoked, but the modder from like the Neverwinter Nights 2 days, this is exactly what I've wanted. But I can I mean, you know, yeah, there's going to be a lot of we're going to need a lot of props now. You know,
Yeah.
when we give people the freedom for this, I want to make sure that we have everything that people. I mean, it's crazy. You think about the amount of stuff you're going to need for that.
Sure, but I mean, people can still combine things, right? In fact,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have more granular control in how they combine things. With
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just that
there
we need,
are,
like,
yeah, pretty much. I think pretty much everything that isn't currently considered considered structural will start going through the tile system. That's not going to break anything that's already been built, but it is. Yeah, we're going to be playing around with. Yeah, anything that isn't considered structural.
yeah.
And it feels it feels pretty nice placing things as props, to be honest. So I am happy. It does create a bunch of new challenges, both on the user experience side, of course, which is already in need of a lot of work, which is coming, and then on the data storage side, we will have to have like limits on how many props you can place within a vicinity. That limit
We
is
know about that.
Yeah.
yeah, the limit is going to be pretty high, but it's still going to be like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be able to place more in this particular radius or whatnot. And that is just to make sure that the amount of data that's being sent back and forth, and as well as what we store, is going to be reasonable. But then again, with the more granular control, you shouldn't have to use as many props, hopefully, to get the same expression that you want. Now, the amount of stuff that needs to be sort of combined to maybe get like a corner of one tile to look the way you want it to is. Hopefully, I'm making a correct assessment there, but we'll see. We'll see what people do. We'll see what you guys do.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll break it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Which is
Oh, they haven't heard about the ladders, so. Yes,
Too soon.
Yes, yes. Hey, it was my fault.
Yes,
Just
yes, it was.
yes, no, just we definitely have learned that when staying in a hotel that has a really, really horrible internet connection, that and trying to build on a large map, and you get a little bit of rubber banding sometimes because your internet is just coming in and out and it's so weak, that if you happen to be grabbed onto something and are trying to place it and it ends up rubber banding you, you end up putting a lot of that same item everywhere.
oh, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, about 400,000 items.
Yes. Yes. So if you have a horrible, I mean, this, I don't even know if that hotel can call it having internet because it was so bad.
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things when you have a lot of data that you're dealing with, multiple people on a map, and I mean a map this size, that trying to
Nice.
work on it with horrible internet
Right.
is just there's so much data there that you're dealing with, and when you're clipping especially.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of a lesson learned on my part. Don't try
Oh,
to
man.
build in that situation.
Yeah, when you're
It's
on
a
like
waiting, test case though, so maybe we should
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
up and just sort of send someone there.
Yeah, I'll.
So you can test
I can show you the screen grabs that Danelle and Klein got of the ladder apocalypse later on.
that would be incredibly useful, actually.
Yeah,
Ladder apocalypse. I
ladder
like it.
apocalypse. But
I think it was actually like 1,000,000 ladders because it was almost at the center, so 0, 0, and all the way to one corner. So
Yeah.
1,000 by 1,000 squares, just full of ladders.
mhm.
I'm not entirely sure how. Yeah.
Neither were we.
Yeah, it was.
And
crazy.
also, so because the current one of the reasons why Baggers has been spending so much time just rewriting a lot of the rendering stuff is because when you get that amount of object, it just can't handle it anymore.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm surprised it was able to be honest,
It-
that it didn't just crash everything.
It did end up crashing. At
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it did end up crashing, and in fact, an entire stream, Klein and Danelle, it probably took about a good at least 20, 30 minutes, if not more, just for them to actually be able to get into the map and start clearing out the ladders. I couldn't even get in, and I was just like, man, this is horrible. But once they started, once they were able to get in and start clearing out the ladders, everything, resolved itself, no issues. It's just don't work when you have. I mean, I was literally at like 1 megabit per second, speed, and that was the high. So it was dropping down to nothing on the internet. So it was just, don't use that.
I mean, were these people on dial-up or something? What the hell is going on?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, you're in North Carolina, in a chain hotel. You would expect that you have at least something like 10 megabits per second or something. Nope.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep, nice, Demon Kid. 1 megabit, so much data. You would never ever need more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's really cool. But
50K.
yeah, I think sort of like the new system would have handled it just fine.
Yeah, but it's a different setup. That
But yeah, as in it's just and it just shows how awesome the new stuff is. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to get people testing that. But it's going to be a while still.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
performance.
if you ever need anyone to test it in a sort of joint session,
oh
we know
yeah.
some people.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, we'll be releasing it to to the community at some point at least. So once we feel
Awesome.
it's stable enough. One of the reasons why it's difficult to just release it to, let's say we could put up like a different branch so that people could just jump on that one and test it. But that assumes that you also create a new campaign or board at least.
Okay.
Because it will break the old ones. It won't break them. It will upgrade them, but you can't go back to previous version. So it's really important that when we roll that out, at least we know that it's stable enough for people to be able to use it. So yeah, I have a ton of boards now that have been upgraded, and then I go back and I realize, oh shoot, I was still using these.
You can't go. You can't
Yeah, I
change
can't
back.
go back.
You can't roll it back. Yeah. Well, all right. So, here's another question I actually had been thinking about was something I think I saw tossed around a while back, and I can't remember if the question had been answered recently again or not, was an idea came up. Someone suggested, hey, would there be a way to maybe color change on like miniatures or things like that? Is that something you guys, were going to try to do, or?
Yeah, tinting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tinting is coming, and we're so yeah. There's going to be a backlog of work with tinting as well. So
Okay.
the it'll be a filter or something that Johnny's going to be the wizard behind that. But we're going to have to retrofit so many of our minis that have been created to fit with that system. A lot of the new miniatures from like Eldritch Foundry that that we've made, they will probably be like the first batch that's going to be able to be tinted right out the gate. But some of the legacy ones, like Helmdar and those guys, we'll have to go back and kind of retrofit those guys back into like the tinting system. When that's coming, yeah, man. I mean, I can't say. I can't say. Johnny could speak to that though.
Yeah, I think my answer is going to be pretty much the same. It is one of those things I'm hoping to get in before early access, and that sounds reasonable. What we'll probably do is have a flag on characters that can be tinted, so that we can do the actual retrofitting of the assets over time. So we say, okay, now we're releasing a bunch of these with the ability to tint them. But that is coming. We've already done a bunch of testing on it and sort of how we want to achieve it. And so we have like some examples of it. We had one in the Kickstarter. We sort of showed how that stuff works. I think I have a tweet on it as well.
Yeah, it looks. I'm pretty excited for tinting as well, man. It's going to give people a lot of options and flexibility with the current assets, and before the kind of mini creator system or whatever we're going to call it is in place, it's going to give people more options for their miniatures at least. It's like my guy has black hair, not crazy red or whatever this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not going to be doing tinting of tiles or props, and that comes down to like the amount of data. What we might do for some props and some tiles is have variants, so they come in as so you can swap between. But it's probably not going to be like a pure okay. You can have like this colored wall and this colored, well, roof and stuff like that.
Okay.
So no tinting within individual tiles, but we might end up doing variants.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be very cool. Let me see if I can just. Man, I'm trying to look for the right piece. I know we did it at one point, Klein. We figured out the piece to use for it. Actually, let me try.
What are you trying to do?
Trying to do basically door handle.
Is this a story right here? I feel like this is
a story. Yeah, it's gotta be.
Okay, like that stuff is super cool.
Yeah, I think this was one idea, but this wasn't it. It wasn't we didn't use the well for this, but I was trying to look at the door handle or knob for the makeshift wardrobes. I thought we had found something that worked really well with that at one point.
Barracks. Look in the barracks.
Yeah, that's right. Barracks. That's where
it was the torture table.
There we go.
Hooked into it.
All right, there we go. So, torture table. Yep. Oh, how did it get on that level? There we go.
The only problem is that it clips through the outer
Does it
wall.
come
so
through
we
the
might
outer
have
wall?
to... I can
Oh,
fix that.
man.
I can fix that. Hold
Yep.
on.
Yep. All right. Okay, there we go. Yeah. You're
Nope,
putting a pennant on the wall, like a banner.
Pretty much,
Using
yeah.
a rug. That's a cool idea. I like that.
Bam.
That's nice, but need to add to it. Need to add something to it. You gotta have. I was gonna say you want to have. Where is that piece?
I think Astari just got it.
Well, that's not the one I was looking for. It was. Aha. It was.
Oh wow. Astari, how are you so good at this? Like in 5 seconds, you made that look immaculate.
And then light.
I love it.
Yeah, you're just too good. Just too good. Put us all to
All
shame.
right, get out of here. Get out of here.
No, stay. We want you to stay.
Yeah, we definitely want you to stay.
Going back
There.
to a few questions.
There,
do
I
you have any
added some
other-
lights.
Okay, we need to put that on the other side now.
Yeah, definitely.
But going back to some questions, do you have any new animations in order? Just because
yeah.
right now for minis it's only 2,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
for the original Kickstarter one, like one of the animations was like casting a spell almost.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, so I actually have an updated version of the what we call the emote system
Okay.
to handle more things, basically being able to handle, because what we want to do is to have the same system handle more, well, not permanent effects, but yeah, sort of permanent effects, I guess, or at least permanent states. So if you're knocked over, for instance, we want a character to stay knocked over. And the current version that's in game, it sort of just runs an animation and that's it. So it made a state system so that we can knock someone over and have them laying down and then have them get up again. With that system, we're also planning on doing things like poisoned or just, well, state effects basically.
Okay.
So that's something that's coming with the new system, and the reason why it's taken a while is because, well, the doing the state things with the animation wasn't that trivial when also wanting to have a lot of flexibility, and we also need to sync this online so that when you come into a game, the people who are knocked over are well, is actually synced to be knocked over as well,
Okay.
and that took a little bit of time. And also just setting up the creatures to have proper attachment points, like in the chest, in the head, and things like that, so that we can do targeted things. That's essentially what was done in the trailer with the spell.
Okay.
In the trailer, what I did was that I replaced the attack animation with the spell casting thing, which is how it was fired, basically. And we're going to have a lot more effects, both between creatures, like you saw with the magic stuff, and also just effects you can throw on the board that doesn't work via the emote system, but it's basically assets that you can play out once. So you just spawn a cloud of smoke or fire or something like that. Another reason why this hasn't been worked more on yet is because of the style of the effects. I really want to do something that's somewhat stop motiony, but also has some realism in it, so like a mix. And finding that balance has been really tricky. So anytime that I start, I end up spending way too much time on it, and I end up, okay, I need to be doing something else. So all of that stuff is coming. And we will have the new emote system in before the early access. which is going to come
Very
with some
cool.
new animations. And probably most significant is the knocked over one, so that you can knock over miniatures and leave them there. So if someone dies, you don't have to.
Don't have to delete them.
You can just knock them over in case someone has a scroll resurrection or something.
Oh yeah.
You might want them back in the fight. So there's going to be some of those added. There's not going to be like a ton of them for the early access, but there's going to be more than there is now.
All right. That is pretty cool to hear. Definitely. All right. What is
Yeah, looking forward to doing more work on that because it is fun, but it is time consuming as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I think at this point, gonna open up to chat. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask your question. We're only gonna go through a couple. I know both Jonny and Jason, they said we'll probably only be able to be in for a little while because they've got a lot of stuff on their plate. So please, if you've got questions, ask them in the chat, and we'll go through a couple of those, and then we'll just have some fun building and chatting until it's time for them to go. And then I think Klein and Danelle and anyone else who's in here, if you want to stick around, we're probably going to continue to build then for a little while longer after that. Normally go about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, depending on how we're feeling. So we'll just go with that. So if there are any questions, ask up. This is kind of your chance. If you didn't get to ask Beggars questions on the stream last week, this is your chance to pick Jonny and Jason's brains here, and see what what cool things they're thinking about and stuff like that. So, oh wow, I haven't looked over here in a little while, and I see some pretty cool stuff going on in the training ground.
Thank you for making me not feel so bad.
Well, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I mean, that looks like a training ground. I mean, that's definitely there. And like I said, I have, I've probably got, based on what chat was saying, I've probably got not too many hours less than Istalri, but Istalri just blows me away. So, it takes time to get good. Some of us are blessed with natural talent, and I'm very jealous of those people. But I just love seeing anything that people come up with. And I think what you did definitely meets the spirit of training ground.
Cool.
That is
I did see a
awesome.
question here from, let's see, Oshitaki, and it's, what rule sets do you guys use for your personal games? So the rule set that so when we played last time between the team, we used 5 torches deep. It's a great system. It's a nice little, just very easy to get into. I'm looking to I'm looking to transfer that to Old School Essentials, which is essentially D&D from like 81, and Gavin Norman essentially rewrote it so it's modular and it's very understandable. It's very clean, actually. If you guys get a chance, check out Old School Essentials. That is basically the basic and expert editions from, I think, 81 of D&D, and it's just formatted in a very nice way. And we're looking. I'm looking to kind of play with that rule set in the future. kind of going old school, you know. Let's see. Okay.
We got another question here from Mary Mule. Hi guys, is subfolders for unique minis, is that something we could have before early access?
So we haven't talked about internally how we should achieve that. And part of it is how we store that information on the server, because it sort of has to be there. I have some thoughts on it myself as to basically formatting it as a path, and then we could use that to generate the folders, basically. So that might be a way to do that. I can't say for sure whether or not we'll have that in for early access, just because there is some backend stuff that needs to be done, and Chris has a bunch of stuff that needs to be happen on that side, so I don't want to promise anything. It is something that we'll be looking into though over time.
All right. Any other questions you guys have? Not seeing any new ones. All right, so let's see here. Oh, someone's playing with the measuring tools on the ground, I see.
I think that's a starry again, which
Yeah.
I love it.
No, my favorite, sorry. Big Bada Boom. Ah, pathways. Yes.
I counter to a starry, which I will never be as good as him, but
Yes. Are you trying to make a heart?
of course. You made one.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Nuke. Yes, that's what that is. That is the nuke bubble. All right. What do we got going around back here? Yeah, these. Wow. The indoor planters and the decoration just turned our keep into a honest to God castle here, like a work of art.
He upped our desk too.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So gonna steal these ideas.
I see. Okay, I'm gonna make that switch. Boink.
All right, I gotta see what you're doing here. Okay. Interesting. The one thing that was forgotten on this, however, there's one thing, just one, which is yield wooden computer monitor.
Oh God.
Nice.
Right there. Just joking.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I'm gonna have to.
I like the desk setups. Those are very cool. Very cool. All right. Oh, looks like we do have one more question. Okay. Not sure I am reading this correct. I bet it's probably we. Could we have... okay, could we have inertia when rotating a mini with Alt so we can use the mini as a roulette to choose a target at random? Interesting.
Isn't that what a D4 is for?
Yeah. Well, or if you want to go... or a D8 if you want to go at diagonals as well.
Yeah. Or a D6 if you're running hexagons.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go no with that one, and it's just because I know surprisingly how much work that would be to implement in in the current system. It's yeah, that's a new one, so
Yeah, that is great.
yeah, no, it's fun. But yeah, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon anyway.
All right, so here we go. Got one from Istalri. If you could do only one type of work on Talespire, what would you spend your time on?
Oh Jesus.
Sorry, coming in with the hard questions.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Johnny. You answer that first, and then I'll go.
So okay, so all my time on one thing.
Yes.
And that's a problem for me because I get bored of things really quickly, which is probably why I'm just all over the place and why I'm doing a little bit here and there. If there was something right now that I would love to work on, it's like prototyping the terrain system, I think. And obviously, what I don't want to work on is what I am working on, which is finishing up the water plane. That's always going to be the case. It's always going to be that cool next thing that is going to give me that satisfaction. Because what I like seeing is just new cool things that pops up. So if I'm able to create something that's cool and make people excited, that's usually what I tend to lean towards. And finishing up a feature doesn't tend to give that type of satisfaction. It gives the satisfaction of, oh, this actually works well now and feels good. Whereas previously it just looked cool, which is a satisfaction in itself. But it tends to take much longer than I would like, which is a bit of a shame. So right now I would probably want to put all of my time into the terrain system. However, that's not realistic. Because there's so many things that need to be done. Ironically, the other thing that I really want to get onto is tutorials and stuff like that, which is things that I hate to do, but I really want that to be done. I really want that to be in there so that we can iterate on it and get people going with actually playing Talespire. So that's probably going to be my next thing after doing the water plane. And another thing that's coming out, hopefully in this update, but might be next week, is being able to set north on the compass. So
so like lock it in place.
Yeah, so that you can change the north direction of the compass. So basically, you just align yourself to where you want north to be, and then click a button on the compass, and it will set it to be that for everyone on that specific board. So it's a board specific thing. But yeah, so my answer would love to do terrain, but if there's just one thing forever, then that's just the game. I would just love to work on just whatever it is. My least favorite thing is probably the business side, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Totally understand that aspect. I'd rather just play and have fun and not have to worry about the business aspect of things by any means. Oh, now there we go. Now, Klein, was this you working off of Istalri's teachings, or is this Istalri over here with this desk? I'm thinking it's Istalri.
Which desk is this desk? Because I haven't touched the desk in a while.
Okay, yeah, so then it's definitely Istalri.
It's an Astari desk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then put I for Istalri. Well, actually, you know what? We haven't done that on this map as much, really, because it doesn't transfer over anyway. But that's one thing that that we did on the City of Crossroads map. Is we'll take like an NPC mini, and this is more because this is a little more collab than the City of Crossroads is. But we'll take an NPC mini because like a lot of times you're like, oh, I'm building this one zone or this building or whatever, and like for example, I'll do this over in Jason's area. We'll drop a mini in there, and then we'll go ahead and rename it. So that now, there you go. You've got a mini with your name saying, yep, this is the area I built. Just so people can see, oh, look, This is
Oh,
what I
right.
built. And
Cool.
we did that on the other map, but that was more a grid format. So this is more freeform. But
Okay.
yeah, that was just a one kind of thing so people could see, oh, who built that?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of things that's coming for the GM blocks, for instance. You'll be able to rename them and use them as bookmarks.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
at least can go into GM mode and see the names of things.
So you'll be able to put
Um,
the little markers around and drop one in
yeah,
and then
the
okay.
name markers.
Oh, I
And
see.
so yeah, you can use those, and then you'll be able to use them as bookmarks. That will also be something that you can promote to be global, so that you can get to a bookmark from a different board.
I see. So you can like select it and it'll take you to that bookmark, even if you're on a different board,
Yeah.
or oh, okay.
So that's so there's a marker and then there's a bookmark. That's sort of two different concepts, but you can promote a marker to a bookmark. That's something that's coming later. I'm not entirely sure when. Probably not before early access, but we'll see. Yeah, and there's also going to be what was the other thing I was thinking about? Yeah, we'll also have improvements on sort of actually seeing the presence of other GMs building, so that you can sort of tell where people are and doing stuff. That's also coming at some point.
Excellent. That actually, I had a question kind of sparked off of that. With changes like that in like the GM tools a little bit, being able to rename things, was I find in my games when which I'm really looking forward to all the work that Chris has been putting into you guys, like being able to reduce the data amount, compress it more and all that, so that and changing the settings so that you can actually change to different resolutions and drop down things so that computers that are not as beefy are able to handle the amount of data on larger maps and still be able to run them, because that's
Right.
one thing that my players, some of them have just like a really crappy old laptop, and they want to get in and experience it, but the map is just too big for them to handle. So one of the things that goes along with that is hide volumes, and I know you guys have put out before that your like line of sight creatures and that kind of stuff is coming along, and that you've been working on that some. That the hide volumes and that, I think the problem I have, and it's more of a, I think, practice issue, is setting them up within a map in such a way to be able to keep complete areas of the map hidden until the players enter them, and then make sure that you're revealing only what they would actually see, and not accidentally, and trying to set those hide volumes up. Is there anything that you guys are, looking at in the future to, maybe it's in the tutorials that you were talking about and like the guides like that, to make it easier for people to learn how to place those properly, or maybe tools that help you place them properly, to just make it easier in the maps?
Yeah, the concept of hide volumes is really flawed. Their introduction was because we didn't have all of these other systems like the fog of war and things like that. We needed some way for people to be able to hide, and hide volumes, although I think it's actually a pretty solid idea for bringing further into the game. It's their implementation is flawed, so they
Okay.
become tedious to set up properly,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something that we'll have to iterate on. And exactly what that's going to look like, I can't say right now, just because it's work that has to be done. Yeah, having said that, the tutorial stuff should help with some of those things at least. But primarily, it's just going to show you what's available and also like sort of how you use it. The problem with the height volumes is sort of it's almost like with the clipping stuff. You have to have experience of where it works well and where it doesn't, and that's not ideal, especially for a feature like that. So it's something that we need to improve on the feature itself to make it more user friendly, I think.
Okay.
But also, yeah, we are going to release a version of Fog of War.
Oh my god, sorry, I love it.
Hopefully, yeah, I don't know exactly the timeline for that, but we'll likely release it before it's done, so that people can just start playing around with it, so we can see where problems occur. Because there's going to be a lot of iteration on that system once people actually start playing it and putting it into real maps to see how well it works. So once we know how that works, we'll also have more data as to what needs to be improved and what needs to be changed on hydro volumes or other ways of revealing the map, basically.
Okay. Very cool. All right. We do have...
Another news, I think we topped the number of people we've had in a collab before. I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
last one was 6, and now we just hit 7.
Yep.
I can see the name of the final person
Yep.
who joined.
Demon Gun, you joined. Awesome. All right, we did get another question from Mary Mule. Says, will you stick to the circle interface for minis with all of the upcoming features? Because they said it is getting kind of full right now, in their opinion.
Yeah, I do like nostalgic wise like the radial UI, but we do need to break it up into like different things, and also it doesn't function very well now with like a lot of buttons and stuff in it. So things are going to move into some lists and stuff like that. They're probably going to be accessed through the radial menu still, but that you actually spawn things like the player list when you're giving permissions and things like that. It's going to turn into a list, for instance.
Okay.
I just haven't had the time to implement like version 2 of the radial stuff. But yeah, there will be changes to it, at least.
All right.
Once again, don't have a timeline for it, unfortunately.
I know you guys were talking about having props and stuff that you could just kind of move around to different areas and corners and that sort of thing. Is that going to be for like all the props, or is that just going to be certain props? Or because right now, like some of the props, like, oh, you've got a round table, but you can't put a light, you can't put a candelabra on the table because it won't go to the center of the table.
Right.
Yeah. With the prop system, yeah, you can just put it on the center of the table. You can put it on the edge of the table, as in, yeah. So
that's coming.
yeah, coming with.
But is that going to be like all the like just the props, or is it going to be like all the assets? Because like now, when you try to put stairs together for going up to a door, the minis they can't walk up the stairs because the railings stop them, so they have to walk on the railings.
Yeah, the railing stuff is flawed, and it's not going to be all assets. However, it's going to be most assets, and what that means is that it's not going to be. Let's see. Yeah, it's not going to be structural stuff. So most of the walls and floors and stuff like that is not going to be accessible in the prop system. A table would be. Stairs, probably not, but that's something that we need to fix, as in the railing stuff we need to fix as a separate problem, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah. So anything smaller than I mean, for most of the individual, like the smaller pieces that you'll see, will be free placement, and yeah, like Jonny was saying, just the larger stuff is going to remain on the grid, kind of like walls and doors and other kind of structural pieces. But
yeah, I guess the things that rely on a increment of 0.25 to be able to match everything together are going to remain.
There you
so
go.
So walls, floors, anything structural, things that are even things like tables and bookshelves and things like that are most likely going to move into the tile system.
Very
So
cool. Now,
fairly
is
large
that going? Now, is that going to be strictly horizontal, or is that going to be vertical too?
It is going to align with the sort of the orientation of the original prop.
Okay, so we got one last question from Istalri before he bails. Says, will we have a chat in-game soonish? Perhaps with a log per board would be awesome.
I don't have an ETA on the chat, but it's definitely something that we want to get in. There is a, there was a version in there at some
Yeah.
point,
Yes, I remember.
and but it wasn't well implemented. It was sort of more of a prototype thing from really early versions of Talespire. It might actually be in the whole Chronicle thing.
Okay.
Awesome.
So it was one of those. Okay, we'll test it out, but we've got other things to focus on that are
Yeah,
more pressing at the time.
it fell into the background, and at some
Okay.
point we tried to sort of re-enable it, but it was designed at a time where the new UI system for Unity was in its infancy. So the features that was used to build it isn't really available anymore. So it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So we haven't gone and said, okay, let's do this. But as far as sort of logs per board, that's something that Baggers would have to chime in on, because it's more back end stuff. So I'm not entirely
Okay.
sure what makes it.
Okay. And I think we got one last question, and then we'll close out questions from chat at that point. Will you improve the green slider so it cuts the whole plane independent from zoom level?
Maybe the at the moment that would be quite difficult to do, because it actually iterates through every single asset that's in that volume. But with the new system, iterating through assets is incredibly fast. So at that point, we might be able to do something like that. It wasn't just because of it wasn't just because of the limitation that the box is the way it is, although we sort of wanted the box to go all the way to the camera at least. It was also this idea that you could cut away from a building but still see the other buildings sort of in their full glory. Whether or not that's a good idea is, well, seeing that you're requesting it means that it probably isn't. But the entire sort of both the user experience of the slider bars on the side, as well as how a lot of these things work, the cut plane and the cut volume, or the sort of the let's say the hide volume, the hide plane. That's what I should call it, and the cut cube are going to have some iterations on them.
Okay.
We just need to get back to it, basically. There's a lot of answers to the question there, like yes, soon, once, sometime, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, where our focus now is to get the new stuff that Chris has been working on into the game, so that it's going to be running as stable as it is now, but also have all of those awesome speed ups that we're experiencing. Also, some of those changes makes networking a lot easier, which is also awesome. So we're less likely to see things falling out of queue and things like that. Because the way the current system works is needlessly complicated for making sure that everything is in sync. And the reason why that had to be that way was because of how Unity handled that data. Now I completely forgot what the question was, because I went into a different direction. What was the question?
The question was about the green slider. It says, will you improve the green slider So it
yes, yeah.
cuts the whole plane independent from zoom level.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the zoom level thing is likely going to go away. That was more of a, it feels really natural when I go out here to want to sort of see everything in once again in its glory. But it's also one of those things that I forget about. Like, why isn't sort of the showing? And it's like, oh, okay, I need to zoom in a little bit, which yeah. So I wouldn't call that necessarily an improvement per se, but it is likely going away. Yeah, it's likely going away.
All right. And I actually have come up with one final question on my own.
Before you ask, I think
Oh,
someone's
yes.
trying to get my attention in the collab. They keep putting down the summon all players. Are you trying to summon me to get your ask a question, or is that just something that's accident?
Could be down here. Because I was.
Yeah, but when I hit tab, like I see the little summon all players.
I'm not seeing anyone doing that.
So I don't know if that's someone trying to get my attention, or the attention of you.
I don't know. Possibly. I do see someone moving their flashlight indication down on the lower level here, out by the blacksmith and foundry, kind of near the stairs. So
Okay. Maybe they were trying to get me attention over there.
Yeah. I like this. These definitely look like Istalri, almost like the low detail city type style.
Yeah, I like that low detail city stuff. That's really cool.
But you had a question there, Tog?
Yes, but before I ask that, actually, I also do want to mention, for those of you who haven't heard, you're hearing now, Istalri, and I think it was in conjunction with someone else. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there is doing a low detail city build contest, and if you're not involved in that, get involved in that. It's so much fun. I haven't had a ton of time to work on mine. I know Demon Gun's been putting in some time. He's been streaming it here and there. It's awesome. So you can check out his streams on his. I'm not streaming my build. I want it to be. I'll show it when it's done. But I don't want you to see the train wreck that it is in progress right now. But it's definitely fun. You should get involved in it. Check it out. He's got the links up for it in, I think, both Tales Tavern. I don't know if you've got it in the Talespire Discord, but I know it's in Tales Tavern. So check it out. Actually, Klein, if you can grab it. Actually, I don't think you can drop it in there. I would have to do it. But I'll ask my question, and then I'll try to grab that link, and I'll drop it in here for everyone else.
I'll look for it.
All right. Yeah, it might be with Mad Wizard. There we go. Thank you. So it's a combo between Istalri and Mad Wizard that they're doing that contest. So that's pretty cool. All right, so here's my question. If you had unlimited funding, help, time, everything you needed, and or a genie, and you could snap your fingers and make Talespire into exactly what you envision it as, like an end, the ultimate dream of what it could be. What is that? What is that ultimate dream version of it?
So I'm not sure if you heard that, Jason.
What was that?
The ultimate dream version. If we could just snap our fingers and have the ultimate version of Talespire, just what would that be, basically, if the money or anything was not an issue?
I mean, essentially. Oh, geez, that's really hard to answer, man. Because I mean,
the tough questions at the end.
Well, part of part of the cool thing about developing this is seeing it develop and not really knowing. It's kind of an adventure, even just developing this thing and not knowing exactly where it's going. But if like the dream version, I've never really considered. I mean, maybe just like 10 times like this, but like 100 times this. Like just everything, like, you know, assets for anything and everything that you would want to build with, as far as medieval, cyberpunk, you know, a Western RPG, anything like that. And you know, I suppose, yeah, with like the rule system, kind of almost like the stretch goals and everything that we have right now complete. I think it would be, I think it would just be like, you know, it's just something like that, man. Possibly like, you know, the ability to do almost like a Neverwinter Nights, where you can build, you know, a single player adventure as well. But that's, you know, yeah. That's kind of like, yeah, I guess the dream version of it, where you can go and be like, hey, I want to build this for my D&D group, or I want to make a single player kind of experience and have things, you know, with AI and combat and
Oh wow,
yeah, I suppose that's kind of like the dream version. But
Yeah, I think I'm on my side. I would sort of echo some of the initial thoughts when it comes to Talespire, because I don't think, at least not me personally, could tell you what the ultimate version of Talespire is. And the reason for that is because of how it's evolved and the fact that we will be really relying on the community to sort of see where it needs to go as well. So that's one of the reasons why we want to run it in early access for so long, is to get that amount of feedback and sort of be seeing how people are using it, and therefore see if we can encourage the game to go in that direction. So I don't think I would know. And that's the great thing about it, because it is, as you mentioned, it is a journey, and it is something that we want to be developing for a very long time, along with people who wants to use it. So if we're given the opportunity to continue doing that, then I think we'll be happy. At least I'll be happy.
Yeah, same here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know. I can't wait for when it does get early access, because I know that I've still got one of my players, because he was newer and came in after, and so he doesn't have a copy. So I'm buying that for him as soon as it comes out in early access. And I'm probably going to save up a little bit of money, and just to be a nice guy, buy some extra copies as gifts, as giveaways for the community, just to get more people involved, because I'm having such a blast with this program, especially playing it in a game. I just love being able to do that.
That's one thing that we've noticed ourselves is, I mean, aside from building, man, just playing it feels really good, and to see more people play it. I love watching streams when people are playing, you know, whether it's Panda, you know, or Z, or playing the actual thing. It's a completely different experience. I mean, building is one thing for sure, and we're absolutely trying to make that, you know, as fun, accessible, and cool as possible. But you know, when you actually get in and start playing, you know, whatever kind of D&D or whatever, that's when, for me, like, that's when it becomes like, you know, that's the magic behind all this, man. And you know, spending all the time doing this is when you're actually playing. It feels like you're there with your friends. It's really cool. The physicality of it.
And I think, at least to me, it seems like COVID has been a double-edged sword, in that, you know, it's made things a lot harder on a lot of people. There's been, you know, a lot of things going on. But I think when it comes to online gaming and having the tools to be able to still connect with your friends and play online, having tools like this where you can still get that more immersive experience that, you know, you always want when you're around the table with your friends. I think this helps keep that connection. You know, stuff like this, being able to just immerse yourself in it. And I love it for that.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's good to hear that, from other people other than us.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't even agree more with that statement, just because like when I first got the programs, my hands on it, my players didn't know about it, and it was right at the start of the isolation, and it was basically like, you know what? Why am I describing this map to you? Let me show you.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
all of their reactions was just, oh, what is this? This is amazing. And then you were like, oh, by the way, you have this.
Yeah.
And just getting them in the game itself, and just again having them be able to just move their minis and just the simple things like that just is amazing for that in-person feel to it.
Nice, man. Nice. Love it.
Yeah, well, that makes me incredibly happy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Reach through the screen and slap their hands every time they want to just move everywhere on the map.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? It's like, stop it! You're not there yet.
That's when I go in.
Complaint,
That's when I go into turn. That's when I go into cutscene mode and stop them.
That's precisely why that was created, because one of our first play sessions was test, like outside of the group, the developers, was with my tabletop group, and
Oh yeah.
oh man, it was a shit show. It was like herding cats, and they just wanted to just do everything and move minis around and like roll all the dice and everything like that. And we were like, okay, we're not getting anywhere with this. So, and then Jonny created the cutscene mode to kind of rein players in and get them into the story first, and then immerse them, and now they're like, all right, and they're ready to play.
Yeah, and that and the needing DM permission to actually open the doors. That's a big one, because I got, God bless her, one of my players, she just has a habit of I want to open the door. 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 And so I constantly, like if I reject her request to open the door, it'll pop up again within a couple seconds. I love her to death, but
maybe he'll do it this time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we also want to expand a little bit. We've been thinking about potentially having almost like a point-and-click adventure style interface, where you can sort of go and just click a point in the wall and say that I want to look at this, and then that sort of pops up as a way to sort of GMs to keep track of what players are asking for. Because I've seeing that we don't have the ability to interrupt easily as we do in real life.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to show that, this player is wanting to do something here, so there might be like a natural transition between this player and that player into what they want to do. And it's just a way to indicate, basically. But then they could give you a little bit of context. So, like, I want to talk to this person, or I want to look at this thing, or I want to break that, like something like that.
Okay, so just like a notification, like, hey, this player is trying to interact with this.
Yeah, as in a similar way to the door thing, it wouldn't be physically attached to an object, but it would give you like this same idea of, this player wants to look at this, and then it would be an interactable thing, so you can actually go to that thing. We haven't tested this out yet. It's just one of those ideas, but I've noticed it when we've played, that there's been situations where I don't really want to interrupt because there's good role playing going on, but I really want to like talk to this person over here, and then whatever is going on now has suddenly taken us to a different room, and I'm just sort of standing there and sort of like, I sort of want to talk to this guy, but I'm not going to break the immersion of going into this room, so let's just go. And then it's beneficial for players and for the dungeon masters, I think, just to have that ability. But we'll see whether or not that makes it in. It's just something that I really want to put in at some point.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that actually brings up, if that's something you guys are thinking about, and if that did make its way in and was able to work smoothly, that brings up an idea for me, is if something like that, could it also then be attached to where a dungeon master could designate key things, like this item here, and perhaps even attach kind of like kind of like a chat window where they say, I want to interact with this, and then you as a dungeon master say, yeah, accept, and it pops up maybe like a chat window with a description that the dungeon master has typed in themselves ahead of
Right.
time.
Yeah, and we are planning on doing like GM notes and stuff for
Okay.
GMs, so it could fall into that system basically. So that's something to consider. It
Yeah.
would help because in one of the things that we do want to do in the future, and that we sort of plan, but we're not entirely sure what the timeline is well making campaigns, of course, not to be played automatically, but that you can share that has
Yeah.
tools to help dungeon masters get through the campaign, basically. Having ways to sort of set up like what's the flow of this campaign supposed to look like, having dungeon master notes with descriptions and things like that, having already set up
Yeah.
key characters, having descriptions on those, and just being able to release campaigns so that
Yeah.
people who don't have the time to build or the time to sort of it's like buying an adventure
Yeah.
booklet,
Like
basically.
buying a module.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's something that we do want to do eventually, and have interface for making that easier, and that could be part of that as well, right? So,
Right.
so that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been awesome. I'm going to
All
get
right.
back to work now. I got to
Yeah.
do some top secret development now.
Well, what
I
are you?
understand.
What am I working on right now? I'm working right now on a cliff. I'm going to be trying to do a cliff side for the frozen biome.
Oh, very nice.
So, yeah.
All right.
We'll see if that makes it in.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm trying to get the water plane to behave properly. One of the things that I hadn't quite anticipated, but makes a lot of sense, is draw order. So the water obviously needs to be drawn. Well, I say obviously, it's obvious to people who make games, I guess, that it needs to be drawn on
Yes.
top of everything else, so that it can take what's underneath it and then refract it and do like all sorts of cool things with it. However, that does not play particularly nice with some indicators, like for instance the build grid.
Ah.
So the build grid either wants to just draw on top of everything, or it wants to be refracted with everything else, and that's not particularly useful. So there's a lot of me figuring out where to draw things and when to draw things, and that's having control over that can be a bit tedious. So I'm looking into potentially making like a post-processing pass that draws all of the indicators. So that's basically after everything, after all of the colors has been applied, after all of the depth of field and everything has been applied, and try to sort of mix it in there. But I'm not sure if that's going to work out before I do it. So that set me back a little bit. It doesn't seem like it's crucial, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good when
Okay.
all of those indicators don't sort of behave. Another one of these hide volumes does not behave with the water plane at all. So that's another one that needs to be sort of made into that same system. So those were things that I didn't expect, because I hadn't been building too much underwater. And the moment that I started trying to build underwater, it was like, okay, this is interesting.
Okay.
So there's some challenges there.
Yeah.
That have caused a little bit of a delay on things, but it's still looking like the end of this week it's still going to be possible.
All right. Well,
But yeah.
I'll say thank you so much for you guys coming. And by the way, Jason, love that old school Dungeons and Dragons hoodie that you're wearing. I noticed that like 20 minutes ago, and I've just been like, oh yeah, I gotta say something about that.
Yeah. Errol Otis, man. That's
Yeah.
great artwork right there.
Hell yeah. But thank you guys so much for joining us. It was awesome to have you. Glad you got to, take some time away from working and just kind of play a bit.
Yeah, that was nice. Thanks for hosting.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Anytime. And
Map
I
is
think
always open.
yes,
That's great to hear.
absolutely.
That's awesome, actually. You know,
Mhm.
I might actually hit you up in the future sometime. So
Well, I
Outstanding.
gotta say, it's nice from this side because it's very rare and an unusual thing to have the developers of anything
Yeah.
go out to the community and actually be involved and go, hey, we're going to join you guys. We're going to
Yeah.
be one of you guys for a little while. We're going to answer some questions. We'll have some fun. That's
Yep.
a very, very rarity. So we appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Love it.
It's to comment a little bit on that. It's a tricky thing because we don't feel any different than just being part of you guys, right? So it's that might. So
That
if
might be part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we grew up in the forums, man. You know, with Neverwinter Nights and things like that. So I mean, it's like a dream come true to have, and it doesn't really feel like it's ours. It's everybody's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all of us. It's a weird thing. Yeah, but yeah.
That's awesome.
So it is a bit
No.
weird being told that that's like an odd thing. But I could see currently we have a pretty sort of manageable group of people through the Kickstarter and stuff like that we can communicate with easily and things like that. I have no idea if this does really well and we have a lot of people how to potentially deal with that. But as long as we can, I think it's nice to be a part of the community and
Awesome.
and sort of just feel like a part of the gang. As it were.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. All right. Well, I don't know about Klein and Danelle.
Well, I have one last thing. Before they go, they
Mhm.
do need to pick a mini and say
Yes.
they built whatever they built.
Yeah, you guys need to claim your spots.
Oh, I hardly did anything, but I'm gonna. Okay.
You need to
I'm gonna
claim your
use-
spots.
Let's see. I'll do. Okay, so we have. Let's see. We'll have.
Your favorite or your most hated mini, and we'll
Yeah.
figure out which one you
Either-
like.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay. All right, that's really fun. All right.
I was just gonna go with the one that I always play.
That works too. That works too.
Yep.
All right.
And
Because
as far as
I haven't had the pleasure of making that many minis, unfortunately, but this one I actually did.
and as far as Klein, Danelle, I don't know about you, but I think what I'll probably do is since these guys are going to be taking off, and we've kind of with the help of Istalri and the stuff done a pretty good stopping point for the keep at this point. And I haven't eaten yet. Yeah, and I haven't eaten yet. I think we'll probably stop the stream, and if anyone else is streaming Talespire right now and you're in chat or you're about to, let me know in chat, and we'll go ahead and raid your channel.
Yep. The only thing I really want to do left on the keep is just the top cannons.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Some cannons, maybe a little bit of, maybe like a build like a trebuchet or two up there.
We'll talk about this after we let these guys go.
Yeah.
100%.
But-
You're right. We're distracted.
All right, look at that. Look at that. We got that right there. Beautiful. All right,
Nice.
and
Of
where
course, the
is?
dwarf. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
And
Yeah,
the
mine was.
minstrel.
I started building off of the side, and I figured I'd move it in, and then I
Ah.
had something.
There we
So
go.
It's,
You're over here.
Wait.
Okay.
yeah.
I see where you are. All right.
But
Excellent.
I didn't finish, so.
No worries. Again, you can hop in anytime. We've got you
I
on
went-
GM permission. You can come in and play around just for fun, even if we're not streaming. Just hop in and play.
Cool.
Stream is
Awesome.
just a scheduled time when we're all here at the same time
Yeah.
to build.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. So, like I said, if anyone is about to stream their own Talespire, pop it in chat. Let me know, and we'll raid your channel. But before I go, also want to just say one last time. Remember, we are doing an Extra Life charity drive. There's the link for it. Please go donate $1, $5, $10, whatever you can do to help out. It's a great charity. It's for children's hospitals. And we'd love to see you donate there. And once again, I want to say a big thank you to both Jason and Jonny for coming in today. This is awesome. Hope to hang out more and have some more fun another time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. So we'll see you guys later. And
We'll see you.
I'm not seeing anyone else popping in saying that they're going to stream, so I'm just going to end it at this point in time. So, bye, everybody.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, Danelle, we're waiting for it.
Thanks, Easter Bunny.
There it is. All right, bye. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you like what we do here, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Later, everyone.